Okay, you know the feeling. You're in the middle of a great story. You're about to deliver the punchline, and then, bam, someone just steamrolls right over you. That flash of anger, that frustration, we've all been there. But what if I told you that getting cut off wasn't just rude? What if it was a secret message? A code that you just haven't learned to read yet? Seriously, why does it happen? Your train of thought completely derails, the conversation just moves on without you, and you're left there feeling invisible. It happens so often we just kind of shrug it off, right? But it's not normal. It's a signal, and we're about to crack the code. So let's just forget the whole politeness thing for a second, because this goes way deeper than bad manners. Interruptions are these little psychological bombs that reveal some wild truths about power, about anxiety, and about the secret rules of how we all talk to each other. That's right. When someone talks over you, they are literally broadcasting who they are and what they think of you. And once you learn to hear what they're really saying, trust me, you will never have a normal conversation ever again. All right, first up, the classic, the one that makes you want to flip a table, the power play. This isn't an accident. This is all about control. It's a way of saying, my voice matters more than yours. Just think about it for a sec. That meeting at work where your boss cuts you off mid-sentence, or that friend who always finishes your stories for you. It's not random. Who gets to interrupt who almost always follows the chain of command? It's this subtle and, yes, sometimes totally unconscious way of putting you in your place. And get this, it's not just a feeling, there's data. One study actually found that men interrupt women 33% more often than they interrupt other men. That's a lot. It's a perfect, kind of depressing example of how power dynamics sneak into our chats without anyone even realizing it. So here's the bottom line on this one. A power interruption is like someone walking into your room and just shrinking the walls around you. They're taking over the space, giving you less room to exist, and basically making you smaller. Okay, but what if the interrupter isn't trying to be a jerk? Let's pivot to a totally different reason. This one has nothing to do with power. It's all about what's happening inside their own head. It's not an attack, it's more like a glitch. You know, for some people, holding on to a thought is like trying to carry water in their hands. It just slips through. So that fear of, oh my God, I'm going to forget it, creates this massive urge to just blurt it out. It's not really about disrespecting you. It's about them trying to manage the chaos in their own mind. And for people with conditions like ADHD, this isn't even a choice. The science is pretty clear. Their brain is just wired differently. The impulse to speak can literally be faster than the part of the brain that says, hey, maybe wait your turn. So the interruption is basically a brain glitch, not a flaw in their personality. So yeah, while it's still super frustrating when it happens to you, seeing it this way kind of changes things, doesn't it? They're not trying to shut you down. They're just trying to keep their own head above water. Okay, so we've talked about the why, but now let's talk about you. What does being interrupted actually do to your brain? Well, to put it bluntly, it's basically a mini attack on your ability to think. Psychologists actually have a name for this whole experience. They call it resumption lag. And it's not just in your head. It is a real, measurable delay. When you get cut off, your brain has to completely switch gears. And switching back isn't like flipping a light switch. It takes work. And here's what that feels like, right? You're in the zone, you're cooking. Then, bam, interruption. Your brain has to stop, process what they said, and by the time you can even try to get back to your own point, it's gone. That horrible feeling of, wait, what was I talking about? That's resumption lag in action. But wait, hold on. Here comes the plot twist. What if not all interruptions are bad? This is where it gets really interesting. Because sometimes talking over someone isn't an attack at all. It's actually a sign that you're connecting. So you've got two totally different things happening. On one side, you have the hostile takeover, the fight for conversational dominance. But on the other, you have what experts call engaged overlap. And this is when someone jumps in not to steal your idea, but to build on it, to say, yes, me too. It shows you're so in sync they just can't contain their excitement. And this is where you realize context is everything. In a lot of cultures, like in parts of the Mediterranean or Latin America, talking over each other is just how you talk. It's a sign of warmth, of passion. If you patiently wait your turn, people might think you're bored or not interested. So one person's rude is another's, we're really vibing right now. Okay, so now you can decode the interruption. You know if it's about power, anxiety, or connection. But what do you actually do about the annoying ones? Don't worry, I got you. Here's your survival guide. All right, here are 5 moves you can pull straight from the experts.
1. Just keep talking, the steamroller. 2. The opposite. Just stop. Let the awkward silence do the work for you. 3. Politely take back the mic with the simple, "Can I just finish my point?" Or if it's a repeat offender, talk to them later when things are calm. Use an I statement like, "Hey, when I get cut off, it makes me feel like you're not listening."
And now for the final twist. The camera turns to you. We've spent all this time talking about why other people interrupt, but let's be real. We all do it sometimes. So the next time you feel that urge to jump in, just ask yourself one question. Why am I really doing this? The answer might just blow your mind.